are back. The time is now.
Good morning, welcome to NUFC Talk TV with myself, the Geordie Yam Yam Man. We've got the mighty Win, my right-hand man, obviously always with us, Tuesday, Thursdays on the daytime, Wednesday, Thursday night, but he literally lives and eats NUFC Talk TV. Bless you, I think he did a 12-hour stint yesterday, on and off. A lot of things.
Bloody press conference.
It was a bloody day from hell yesterday because we both were searching in the morning, just didn't seem to materialise. Very hush-hush when it come to the time thing. And like I said, you know, when your day just has to carry on, doesn't it? And we went on our merry way. I know you were searching high and low. I was already out and about doing the usual stuff as you do, collecting kids, God knows what, when the news hit the grounds that it was going to be a 4 o'clock presser. And I just
3:30, you were according to the website.
According to the website, yeah, you said it was 3:30, and then you come online at about 3:10, didn't you? Yeah, you were solo for bless you for some time. But I thought today I'm going to do a bit different because I'm going to. I'd seen this video, and I must admit it's absolutely fantastic. So before we get into today's show, motivation time.
He vivido muchas noches en el fútbol, pero hay momentos que jamás se olvidan. Recuerdo lo que se siente jugar con esta camiseta, sentir como esa energía me eleva cada vez más alto. Este club, cada piedra, cada asiento, está construido sobre la fe. Y la gente aquí no solo ve el fútbol, lo siente, lo viven, lo respiran. He visto los gigantes caer bajo ese peso de la fe. Los nombres pueden cambiar, las camisetas pueden cambiar, pero la llama nunca muere. Esto es Newcastle United. Denlo todo.
Get into them.
If that doesn't motivate them, I don't know what will. Fantastic that. I must admit when I saw that earlier this morning, it's been a morning from hell. Let me just say that. So anyway, let's get into today's show. I hope you enjoy that out there. Welcome to everybody watching across the platforms. Thanks to everybody that works in the background. Don't forget, guys, most importantly, hit that like button for us. It just helps us get further as a channel. Subscribe, it's totally free. Hit the bell for future content. If you want to support us, become a member, small monthly fee. If you've got a question for me or Wayne, throw a Q in front of that question. It's not guaranteed. So if you want to guarantee it, then throw us a Talk TV super chat. Use the $sign, follow the instructions. It's simple. All new members and gifted members from the people that have been members for a while and support us every day will be highlighted and thanked. And again, you can, if you want, still get on board with the £5 entry fee to be a participant in the Prediction League. It's a bit of fun where you try and predict Newcastle's scores, and you get a cash prize for the top four and a prize for fifth and sixth. So, welcome on board, one and all, to Thursday, the day before the big game. I must admit, it's very, very interesting. And I must admit, it's been a couple of
the day before the big game.
Well, it to me,
the day of the big game.
Well, yeah, sorry, the day of the big game. Yesterday was the day before, and it's been a bit of a whirlwind because there's been lots of people out there talk, and I must admit, it was a really interesting comment that was put out by the Chronicle, asking Eddie Howe on obviously motivational speeches. And he said, somebody, again, when asked if he will potentially use a quote or two from Sir Bobby, Howe said, there are connections with Sir Bobby Robson that we will fully embrace, certainly psychologically, when we go into that area. It might be something I use. For me, it's been about the actual game and the tactical viewpoint and making sure we are prepared. lot of emphasis on the Sir Bobby. Obviously, having links
to Bobby Derby. One of the two will be
one of the two. I was going to say, there's a link to a number. But isn't it funny how Barcelona seem to have that bit more passion behind the spirit of Sir Bobby? I wonder whether PSV will have the same.
Well, that I couldn't see it. He was successful there as he was virtually everywhere except here.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Crazy, really, isn't it?
But no, Barca, because it has been at Barca, it's been perpetuated, hasn't it, through the likes of Mourinho and Pep, who were his protégés there, and they all speak so highly of him. So I think that's why. And he was there a long time as well. What was he there? 7 years in total?
7 years, wasn't it? Yeah, something like that. Yeah, 6 or 7 years, wasn't it?
So there's that much involved.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's been a lovely little...
I mean, you could argue we had a bigger connection with Barca than he did with us, apart from his whole life supporting us.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to say, I mean, that's where really he made his name, wasn't it, Barca? I mean, obviously, we knew him from the Ipswich days, but I think when you look at
it was Ipswich where he made his name.
Yeah, but when you're thinking of European names in managerial side.
Yeah, well, when he won the UEFA Cup with Ipswich, that was what really put him on the map.
On the pedestal. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Lovely little thing from Miguel Almiron was sent on his social media page. Grateful to have received this medal. It brings back so many great memories. Thank you to Newcastle United, the staff, my former teammates, and of course the amazing fans. Your support has always meant so much to me. You've always had a special place in my heart, and I'll always be supporting you. #NUFC, #forever grateful at NUFC.
That's for every Newcastle fan apart from Roy, the King of Qatar.
Yeah. Another surprising little ditty came from Dominic Skur. I don't know whether you know this, but St James's Park expansion confirmed by the Premier League, a whopping 6 more seats compared to the start of last season. I'm thinking, there you go. That's why the Saudis have been quiet, mate, because they've got it was 52,258 and it's now 52,264.
Well, that's actually that's strange, because the figure I always have in my head is 52252.
Right.
So they must have got another 6 at some other time.
Yeah. And obviously you can see this is the Premier League club detail stuff, and it gives you your meterage and everything else and who's in charge, and it tells you there, look, 52,264. So yeah, a whopping 6 seats bigger. So like I say,
that's it, folks. We have had our stadium expansion.
Yeah. That's exactly. I know what people are moaning at. I mean, come on. It's there in black and white for everybody to see. Again, another little bit of news. Can you call it news? Not really, massive news, but it's funny when you look at Shay Given, right? Shay Given, one of the stalwarts of Newcastle, been literally behind the scenes for several years as a pundit.
Third all-time highest appearances.
Yeah, exactly. Now, he's come out and I can say, call it a statement if you like, but I mean, here he is. And that's, like I say, that's a classic picture back in the day in 97. And as you can see here, when I put it up, I played for Newcastle 463 times. Nothing compares to the night we beat Barcelona. Do you not find that? I mean, there's a massive read if you want to go into it. The links on the screen there if anybody's interested.
I mean, they were big, but in Given's time, I would have thought probably the 2 semi-finals.
2 semi-finals.
That's what semi-finals would have been the highlight. The Sheffield at.
I'm just going to have a drink out of my absolutely huge bottle.
Sheffield and Spurs at Old Trafford, I would have thought would have been the two. They're certainly from that era. They're the two games that I remember the most.
Yeah.
I remember Ninian Park. I'm saying the Millennium Stadium.
Yeah.
For completely different reasons, with a twat Nicky Butt drinking out the Man United bottle and celebrating and laughing and cheering.
Yeah.
Afterward got twatted.
Pop Mags has put there, as anyone who hasn't seen it, the Bobby Robson documentary, More Than a Manager, is an amazing watch. Not sure which streaming platform it's on.
It's Amazon, I think, Amazon Prime. Yeah,
I'm sure I've seen that. Is that quite an old one now?
Yeah. It's probably from when Amazon Prime first started.
Right.
I'll just have a quick look.
I don't. I can't remember. I can remember watching a program about Sir Bobby when obviously he goes back from his Ipswich, well, as a player.
Netflix, it's on now.
Oh, it's on Netflix now, is it? I might have to watch that again because it has been a while since I've watched that.
Sky as well.
Yeah. Right then, let's have a quick gander through. I'm going to whack it on the screen there, Pont, just in case.
2018 it came out.
Trollsy saying it's weird, but I'm not nervous for tonight's game because I don't expect us to win. It's Barca. They are instantly good, to be fair.
Insanely good.
I mean, it is. It is a strange one, isn't it? Because Boki was saying something similar, like that I have now nerves. It's not a nervous thing. I just feel sometimes when you look at if we play our game to the heady heights, as we saw PSG. PSG was a good team. You can't deny that. It's a bloody good team. Look at him with his China mug, with his nice ground coffee. You should pop the little finger out there while you're drinking, sir. And to me, you look at it and you think, if we play our natural game, high intensity, really stop them from having that control of the ball. And the biggest thing for me is the way they try and overload the midfield. 7-5 is usually the way they do it, as we were discussing last night at great length.
At great length.
I've had some beautiful comments though, mate, to be fair. So thank you ever so much that have people that have reached out to me and privately messaged me saying how much you enjoyed it. So, because like I say, it ain't for everybody. I understand that, and apologies for the blue screen because it looked so worse on the TV than it did on my screen.
Let's not dwell on it.
Lessons learned. Exactly. Lessons learned. I mean, for me, it's not about being nervous. It's about wanting to see us perform, and I think that is it. I think if we go out there and perform, I think we could actually get something from this game quite comfortably. And I went from a 1-1 because I thought it was going to be a very cagey evening. But actual fact, I've gone for a 2-1 because I do think Newcastle will be well and truly up for this. Watched a cracking video this morning.
I'll tell you what's floating my boat, what's blowing my skirt frock up at the minute is the referee. Oh, lost his name now. I did have it somewhere. Glenn Steigen, Swedish referee.
Swedish, isn't he? Yeah.
And he doesn't give many yellow cards at all.
He seems to let the game flow.
He lets the game go. So hopefully J7 can really get in amongst it. And if I think if he does, Barcelona won't know what's hit them. If he's up for it, and he tends to be up for it for the big games, does J7.
Yeah.
So hopefully, I mean, he was my man of the match at Wembley, just pipping Dan Burn. But if J7's up for it, we know what Bruno does, and we know what Tonali does. So if we can get the three of them all on song, I don't think Barcelona will know what's hit them. It's
What-
all
what-
very
what-
well having the stellar forwards that they've got,
Yeah.
but if
It is.
if they can't get the ball, there's nothing they can do.
No, well, like I say, you look at players, and you hit on it yesterday when you did the presser. Some of the words that Bruno had come out and said about the club moving on, not dwelling on the fact the club, not dwelling on what's happened, and he wishes the Rat all the best. But I mean, for me, what I watched this morning was absolutely fantastic. Just before I come on the show, I had I would say I had a bit of leisurely time, which is very rare these days. Post me changing my battery on my car, and I watched somebody had done a full video on NUFC training, and it was real. I'm not going to put it up because there's lots of his adverts and stuff like that on there, and it's a shame, but it's well worth the watch. And what I noticed was Bruno was throwing a bib while he was doing his warm-up, and Tonali was throwing a bib. So obviously Bruno and Tonali were in the same team that were going to be playing against the opposition in this training session. And Bruno keeps on looking across to Tonali while he's doing some of his zigzags, and he's pointing his finger because, I don't know whether you watch some of the training sessions, whether you're interested in any of that, but some players just look a little bit awkward. And I say awkward because when the physios ask them to do certain exercises, so clear tendon stretches, things like that, they look a little embarrassed because of some of the movement that they're asked to do, and they're squatting and things like that, where they're a bit robotic. And you can see the likes of Kieran Trippier, who's very canny, and he does one, misses two, does another one, misses two. You know what I mean? So he hops along doing little bits and pieces.
That's always a sign to me, when the players come on before the match and they're doing their warm-ups. And you can, if you watch those, you can see which players are actually putting something into that exercise and which ones are literally going through. If they're doing a sort of hop with a knee raise, you'll see some of them just doing a little hop as opposed to really, getting into the exercise the way it's supposed to be done. And that to me is telling.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I say, it was really good, the fact that you could see Bruno really looking at Tonali and pointing fingers when he wasn't doing what he was supposed to do. Put it that way. And it was fun. It was fun. I am getting reports all the way through, so. Apologies, because I'm going to be looking down.
James Cuff saying he doesn't give him any yellow cards. He can't have refereed J7 yet. Then
I was going to say it does depend on what J7 or what he's heard about J7. I've just had Craig Hope apparently has had a message regarding Hansi Flick. Craig Hope has put down Hansi Flick. To be honest, I didn't know him very well. This is Hansi Flick regarding Nick Voltemada. I was really surprised about how he increased his level. I think he has a lot of potential to improve. I'm also really happy Germany now have a really good number 9. Interesting from Craig Hope. That's just come through. Thanks ever so much. And according
to...
to...
Toon have a really good number 27.
Absolutely. Craig Hope, again, has put some stuff in about the captain yesterday, as we've just discussed. But according to reports, we were talking last night about Eddie's got to start trying to give youth more of a first-team game time. And reports are out there saying that Barca tonight are going to be having a 15-year-old within the squad, Ibrahima Tunkara, who is an attacking midfielder, available to play. He's on the bench. So again, age is just a number. It's that old philosophy: if you're good enough, you're old enough. Is that something Eddie Howe misses out though? Regarding, or is it just the fact that we just haven't got anybody?
It's down to talent, isn't it?
Yeah,
Listen,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure if somebody was, if you had a young kid who was pulling trees up at his level, the coaches would be passing that message up the lane. I don't think for 1 second that he's watching all of the youth team training sessions. Neither should he be.
I'm going to say it's impossible, isn't it?
And then he has, to be fair to him, I mean, he's given quite a few players the opportunity. None of them have really,
None of them have blown your frock up. That's what you're going to say.
None of them have blown me frock up. Aye, exactly.
I mean, again, I don't know whether it's nerves or what, but it does seem as though the attraction for youth players to come into Newcastle from elsewhere, and if anybody's interested, closing date is today. They are looking for a scout in the southwest region of the UK. So anybody that lives around Bristol area, Temple Meads, if you've got anything to do with football and you want to be involved in Newcastle United, there's your opportunity. Closing date is today. By the way, so
that's why I'm going. That's why I'm going to Bristol on Saturday, so I can get a Bristol postmark on my application.
Oh, is that where you're going? Going to Bristol. Yeah, I do
go
like
to Bristol.
It's beautiful Bristol. They used to call me Gar when I lived there. All right, Gar. Always a lad without a Y in his name. All right, Gar. How you doing? So James Cuffey saying he's not nervous. I think this is a bit of a free hit for us. Barca are expected to win, and this game won't be the one that stops us qualifying for the next round. And everybody's got that message, haven't they?
Except, as I say, home games are going to be vital. So,
yeah,
it's all very well saying not expected to win and all this. If to get comfortably through, to be certain of getting through, you need 16 points.
Yeah.
You can scrape through. There was multiple teams on 10, 11 and 12, and it was the way the system works. It's who's played each other, who's got the goal difference, very important. So, this is a question if you are getting hammered in a particular game, keep the score down, because that is going to be vital, not just then, but also in the next round when your league performances are taken into account with regard to seeding and who you can play, and it's a minefield. I'm still trying to get to I was on for about early hours of this morning. I was on for about 2 hours.
Trying to find out,
go through the format and the permutations.
Are you doing a spreadsheet?
I've distilled it. Well, I could do a spreadsheet to do it automatically. Yeah, you can't do that until the results are in for every single game.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is that when the league phase is finished, so when every club has played their 8 games, the top 8 automatically go through to the round of 16. The teams from 9th to 24th, so you can finish up to 24th in the league and still get through, and that's where the 11, 12 points comes in. Go through to the knockout round to qualify for the round of 16. And there you play home and away, and the teams who finish 9th to 16th in the league, they get, you call it home advantage. They get to play their home game second in the knockout game. So you play your away game first, and the top teams get to play the decider, if you like, at home. So that's another reason why you really want to be in the top 16 as opposed to 17 to 24.
Right.
And I'm still, as we go on, as we get some results to put in, it's a bit like the Eurovision Song Contest. You got to put the results in as you go along, because that'll then determine who you can play. Because it even goes down to did you get your points against pot 1 teams, pot 2 teams, pot 3 teams, etc., which again makes the game against pot 1 teams, which Barcelona are, super important.
Got you.
And the other thing is they've even got waiting as in WEIGHTING, waiting against whether you play them at home or away.
Yeah.
So your pot 1 away game is like super valuable in the event of a tie break.
Got you.
And these are all things that need considering.
That need to consider. Yeah, it is crazy. Again, fantastic stuff in the chat. I mean, a lot of people putting in. Heart says 3-1. Toonhead says 2-2.
Foxy's saying 0 point.
0 point. Yeah.
The Eurovision song on there.
Pot Mags has called you Sir Wynyard because obviously you've got your posh China mug. James Coffey doesn't give me many yellow cards. He's a referee, as you've said. Wynyard Hall is the country seat of Sir John Hall, if I recall correctly.
That's right.
There you go.
He bought the hall and then he built a housing estate all around it, one of which houses Kevin lived in.
Interesting stat here from Pot Mags. I find it amazing that J7 has not got a competitive red card for us, but Gordon has 2.
I think Jason has had a red, hasn't he?
Don't think he has, because he's always been subbed. Once that yellow card's been on, Eddie Howe has always tried to get him off the field of play.
Right.
It'd be interesting to have a look at that, because I'm trying to rack my brain. The single cell.
What immediately came to mind was Southampton, but of course that wasn't him. That was Fabian Shay.
Scotty Builders, contractors, nice to see you on board, buddy. I think we will be fine. We always get up for these games. Can't wait. Come on, Toon. What a night. It's building up to being a cracker. Jacob Scott, Gary and Wynn are the best duo. Thank you, buddy. Thank you for your support, as always. Stevie's thinking that Bruno needs resting on Sunday.
Red card suspension. 17-18. When did he come? Oh, no, that wasn't.
Yeah, Miley was 16 when he come on board, but it was more of a forced issue to kind of phrase, wasn't it? Because of injuries and everything else. I don't think Eddie Howe was keen at the time. And I think he was forced into that. But again, what was the proof in the pudding? Miley didn't, make a hash of it. And he's obviously sustained his position within the squad for his performances. And that's why I'm saying, why has Eddie not really given options to other young'uns if he's seen such a promise from Miley? Because like I say, he did perform excellently when he come on board. Foxy saying that Ibrahima Tunkara is ridiculous. He's born in the Gambia. But again, they've got some absolutely fantastic 10s within Barcelona, probably 2 of the world's best. If you look at stats,
his only red card. Sorry for interrupt.
That's all right, mate.
His only red card came before he joined us.
Yeah, there you go. That was
in a pre-season friendly.
Interesting, isn't it? Because, like I say, the amount of cards the lad picks up, you'd think he would get on board with that one. Really hope that.
He's had 2 big suspensions for totting up.
Yeah. Well, that's what I said. I mean, the only thing he's had suspension-wise is the continuity of cards, isn't it?
Are you doing a watch-along tonight? Yes, we are. Team season, as always.
How embarrassing is that, looking for a scout? You know what's more embarrassing? We're on the doorstep of Scotland and we never go and look at it. Apparently, according to that Jack Ross, we've not scouted Scotland for some years now. And I find that really bloody hard to believe. Thinking you're talking about kids, right? Now, these guys, it's not the first scout that they're asking for. I mean, somebody, I can't remember who it was now, threw me a link There was a Midland scout. I've been away from the game for 30 odd years now, so it's for me to go back and say he's a good player, the football's changed compared to when I was heavily involved. So for me, it was like a no-brainer. But I mean, there's people out there that are well into scouting. I mean, there's a lad, a Newcastle fan, that seems to be a scout. Can't think of his name now.
Antonio Mangio.
Mangio, there you go, the Italian named guy. He seems very up to date.
Proper Geordie, though.
Yeah, proper Geordie. Obviously, he's not scouting anywhere apart from locally. Craig Alb reporting via YouTube what he's hearing is only one change for the game tonight, and that's Gordon for Barnes. Which is what I anticipate.
That'll do for me.
Well, I'm surprised, though. Like I say, Elanga isn't in the side, if that's the case, because I think pace would be the thing for me. But he's going for quality crossing over pace, and obviously he's waiting for the game to be...
And output.
And output, yeah, exactly. Well, that's what I said. I mean, you
can't fault Jacob.
No, absolutely. Queenie's saying, good afternoon, looking forward to this evening. No pressure for us yet, lots to look forward to. Hit our magic thumbs up for good positivity.
I think my, I'm quite calm and collected at the minute, but I think that will gradually intensify
as we go on.
As we go on, and once you get in the stadium, it's going to be electric.
Yeah. Team Season's asking a question. Wissa is back for the third Champions League game against Jose Benfica, as he's about to be their manager. Well, listen, we don't know anything as such. All we know is, according to rumours, and it is all about Rumourville at the end of the day, don't know the extent. Yeah, I don't know the extent of the damage to his knee. It's obviously a significant sprain to his knee because he's out for several weeks. When it comes to the four ligaments across the knee, lateral, medial, posterior, anterior, you have got a bit of a complex situation going on there. And then, like I say, sometimes it is uncomfortable just to put weight onto it. So, like I said, when he comes back, it's going to be after the internationals of October. And then it'll be preparation for him to get fit again. And unfortunately, like I say, he goes swiftly in December to Africa for the AFCONs, as Wynne just said. So, like I said, how much we see of him up until then is going to be, well, your guess is as good as mine, I think, buddy. What else have we got in the chat?
One thing that I discovered when I was looking up the details on the format and how it all works was my argument was, because it was strange it being on a Thursday night, everybody reckoned it, it would be on a Monday, Tuesday or a Wednesday, as it always has been. But they've dropped, and my argument was, well, that's what they're doing there is devaluing their other tournaments, specifically the Conference League, which kind of had the Thursday all to itself. So who's going to want to pay huge money to televise a conference game when you've got 20 Champions League, or however many Champions League games to choose from? Mm. But I came across this article that was saying and I noticed last night, tonight, there aren't any conference games.
Nothing.
They've pushed those back a week. So the Europa League and the Conference League are next week. So they've got all that to themselves.
Yeah, that was it.
So effectively what they're doing is getting an extra week of football in the UEFA calendar.
I don't know whether it was from just trying to look. I can't remember who gave it me, but there's been some changing to the rules, isn't there?
In terms of
The World Cup.
the World Cup.
Yeah. You know, we were complaining about the 2 weeks non-Premier League matches because of the World Cup qualifiers and things like that. There's 2 weeks. After the World Cup in 26, apparently the next competition, which will be for the Euros, it's actually going to be 3 weeks without Premier League football. So instead of it being a 2 week, because of the length of time, I read somewhere, and I'm trying to think, I thought it was Connor, bless him, who'd sent me some information about that. But it looks like they've changed the ruling. So after the 26 World Cup, when the next internationals come along, and I'm hoping I've read this right, instead of it being a 2 week event for the next internationals coming along, which will be potentially October, because no, it might be even September actually. They won't run for 2 weeks in September. They will actually run for 3 weeks. So
are they playing an extra game or something, though? And does
they must be because of
are
what
they
they've
doing
lost
away
out.
with a later break?
Yeah. Well, again, it's just I think it's something to do with the World Cup happening. They'll have missed out on an
Because we all
international-
love international breaks, don't we?
Oh, of course we do.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Like a boil on the bloody ass, mate. But again, you know, going, and it's right at the start of the Premier League as well. You know, September, and it looks like I say. I'm sure they said it'll be 3 weeks rather than 2 weeks in September, which means virtually you'll have one game or maybe even 2 games, and then it'll be 3 weeks off. So watch this space on that one because I must try and find the information again. On that, because like I say, there's been a new rule.
We've got plenty of time to do that, haven't we?
Exactly, of FIFA, but that's for another show. But it just boiled my pea a little bit to think that, you know, you're just starting to get all your lads together, and then again you've got this crazy break that just takes everybody out.
Everybody's going on about Tino. They live it, they breathe it. They feel it.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Like I say, if you don't need a motivational video when you watch that,
get into them.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you watch Eddie say it's taking time to adapt Elanga to a system and what he wants for him, aka goals? I think this is what we were saying.
That must have been
before.
to the printed press conference after.
Yeah, because you didn't hear that in the presser, did you,
No.
at all? No, so that was obviously when they do the...
or at least, put it this way, it's possible that it was said, but the bloody...
The mics were off.
Sound that the NUFC
awful,
put out was pathetic.
Do you... I mean, Luke Edwards, obviously a journalist, he wants to make, you know, headlines, I suppose, and, you know, he was one of very few that hit the nail on the head when he'd come to certain agreements with Isaac. But do you think he's right in what he said there about there's been words or there's been some type of discussion between Elanga not being happy, because that's the type of theme that he's looking at? I think Eddie was quite right in saying to Elanga at the time he wanted to see what Elanga could offer Newcastle, because we'd lost the threat of Gordon on the left hand side.
Sorry, I've missed the point here. Is Edwards saying that there's some sort of...
Well, the point that he was getting at, that it made it sound as though when he said, have you had those conversations with Elanga, you know, awkward conversations about being dropped? And I think he's trying to put a little bit of a twist onto the story to say that, you know, Elanga's not happy, type of thing, from being dropped. And Eddie Howe has quite happily come out and mentioned the fact that, you know, it's going to take him time to change and adapt from the Nottingham Forest way of playing to the way Newcastle are expected to play.
We ain't got no Chris Wood here, Anthony.
yeah, exactly. But at the end of the day, you know, we've also, as we've seen, you know, Chris Wood heavily relies on service to get, you know, the end product. And for whatever reason, and like I said, the difference being we're the high pressing team rather than a team that backs off and allows you football in front of you to draw the player on and then break at pace. So it is massively different. And this is what we speculated before we signed him. You know, why go for the player?
Well, you were
that
always
plays
sceptical
nothing like
about Elanga, weren't you?
Yeah. Why go for the player that plays totally different football to what you play already? You know, he's not the type of player that's technical. He's got pace and he can run in behind.
That's what I think he's been bought for. Pure and simple, his pace.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
his finishing, by the way.
Yeah. But I do think he's trying to probably make a little bit more out of it than needs to be. I'm just having a quick look at another article that's been sent to me, so bear with me, guys. Why? Oh, hold on. This is from BBC Sports. Why will September international break be longer from 26? Yeah, here we go. Thanks, Connor. Like I say, I knew I'd read it. So just briefly, again, this is for another day. 10th of September, this came out. September international breaks are getting longer from 26 in a move that will bring the disappearance of the international October break. So You're right, Win. So that's why it's changed. The change is being made for a number of reasons. These include the 26th World Cup final having the latest date for a Summer World Cup since 1966, with the match due to be played on the 19th of July. Player welfare also featured in the discussion that took place with stakeholders and all of FIFA's confederations prior to approval. Travel considerations are a factor in the change. The reduction in breaks will reduce the number of journeys where players from one continent have to travel to another for their international fixtures, such as African, South American players who also play domestic football in Europe and have to travel across continents to fulfill international fixtures. There are currently 5 international breaks each year, lasting 2 weeks each in March, June, September, October and November. Each break means there will be no league football in the top divisions for 2 weeks as countries play 2 matches each. There are some exceptions, such as when we have a major tournament like the World Cup, African Cup of Nations or European Championship. Starting next year, there will instead be an increased September break with no October break and a regular November break. There will be a 3-week gap for domestic matches in September, and countries will play 4 international matches instead of 2.
There you go. That's it. So they're taking 3 weeks off and playing 4 games instead of wasting another 2 weeks.
Another 2 weeks. So it's going to be a longer break. Sense. Yeah, but why not just delay the start of the bloody season then? Do you know what I mean? Because they just come back and then all of a sudden it's like, woo, you're off again. See you soon, little bonny lad. Thanks for that, Connor. And like I said, I had read it, but I just couldn't remember where I'd read it. So straight away, I suppose we better talking about Elanga. I think that leads us quite nicely into the next little bit of news, I suppose. And according to Forest journals that I've managed to read, Mr. Wilson, Ross Wilson, seems to be very heavily now into the final stages of his agreement to leave Nottingham Forest and move to Newcastle. Again, it's been a long time coming, but it looks like Al Ramayan as literally wanting to get this deal done very soon. Now we've got the CEO on board. This is obviously the next part of the jigsaw they want in place in readiness for the forthcoming January window, so he can get himself into the hot seat, bedded down, and understanding what Eddie Howe requires regarding players. So again, apparently Ross Wilson is very well liked in Newcastle from all accounts. He's got a decent past relationship with Eddie Howe. I don't know whether that's a right thing or wrong thing to say. Like I say, if they're mates, I don't think that's the right word to use. I think they've had a decent relationship regardless of how close or distant it's been. But it seems as though this is virtually a case of ticking T's and dotting I's before we see Mr. Wilson through the doors. It's about time, if I'm honest with you, Win. I think, like I say, this has been a position that needed to be filled a lot sooner. But unfortunately, as we all know, Marikanis wasn't happy to let him go until the window had closed. He's got some clout, this Marikanis lad, hasn't he?
Well, he says, my club, I'll do what I want with it. It's my ball, and my ball says I'm Maradona.
Yeah, if it comes over again, I'll put a knife in it. God, you don't hear that very often these days, do you? You know, kids playing football in the street, especially. You just don't see it.
You just when I was a lad, every single street corner had kids playing football. If there was a bit of grass somewhere near them, Alan Shearer, where he was growing up, had a green there, and that was just every hour of daylight, there was kids playing football on it. Like what we call the playground, my backyard here, over the fence, just non-stop. But you just don't see it. Having said that, I mean, there's a hell of a lot more organised sport now than there ever was back in the day. So, I'm not, maybe these kids are all at, football clubs or school things, whatever. But you just don't see the kids playing football on the street like you used to.
No.
Jumpers for goalposts and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You're banging against the garage doors and God knows what. It was
curbs.
Kirby, yeah, absolutely. That's totally gone now. I'd have been a world champion of the size of the bloody curbs today. Gavin Fuller has got a decent question here. Should NUFC have worked closer with Congo over Wissa, like Liverpool did with Sweden's? Isak only got 20 minutes. Well, that's an interesting one because I mentioned something very similar to this. But then you look at Hansi Flick and his situation with Yamal and obviously going to Spain and being played 70-odd minutes each game with severe groin pain. And they just gave him painkillers and told him to get on with it. Unfortunately, domestic football doesn't have much clout when it comes to international. What you can is make a gentleman's request, if you like, just to say, can you be careful with the player because he hasn't had much football. But in actual fact, there ain't a lot But
listen, with Wissa, I don't think it was anything to do with stress or, too early overworking and all that. It was down to the fact he was getting kicked off the park and the referee was doing nothing to stop it. I watched the full 90 minutes. The referee was pathetic.
Yeah, you did say that he was getting hammered, but like I say, unfortunately, he's bruising. Like I say, it was just an unfortunate fall. That created the sprain to his knee, was kept him out. But
I think the fall was also due to the fact of the kicks he'd been getting as well.
Yeah.
But because it looked weird, it looked comical actually. In fact, I was watching it live, obviously, but I had the forum on as usual, and I put in the forum. Everybody said that and big loads of laughy faces, I wasn't laughing at the finish when I realised that it done him in.
Yeah. It's crazy. Talking about Champions League, let's talk about Champions League just for a second. Now, apart from Chelsea...
Let's talk about it for an hour.
Yeah. Apart from Chelsea, English clubs have done all right in the Champions League so far, opening game. It seems, like you said, a bit strange to have it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. More TV. More revenue, I suppose, is what people will say. Extra week. And it's for me, though, when you look at it, Chelsea are going to get hammered across the board by the looks of it. Is that good? Does that fortune Newcastle tonight, though, with what they've seen the European giants coming backwards and forwards, apart from Bayern Munich actually taking Chelsea to task? And your mate again, Kane, gets a brace, doing really well. The lad that you wanted in a black and white shirt to come and compete for Shearer's, title.
I thought to me that was an absolute no-brainer. Okay, you're going to pay him $500,000 a week. in wages.
Yeah.
25 million total.
Crazy, isn't it?
25
The lad
million
knows where the net is still, doesn't it?
and 64 million buyout clause.
Yeah.
Absolute no-brainer for me. You're not paying it all out at once. You know, the wages are paid out month by month.
I was going to ask you.
You know, would you come? I think he would have. If we put something down on the table, I think he would have come.
I mean, like I said, unless you ask the question, it's like everything else, isn't it?
Mm.
You know, if you don't ask, you don't get. For me though, it's like having seen other teams locally give you, as in Premier
Locally,
League teams, Premier League teams doing well in the Champions League. As you're going virtually last in the Premier League with your Champions League situation, does it give you a morale boost to see other Premier League teams doing well, or does it add more fuel and pressure? That's all, that's there from
I
the
think
game
in the current format, which I think they see had to stay, by the way, I don't think it matters really when you go. I want all. I don't care who they are, Man United, the lot if they were in. I want all English teams to do well, because by all English teams doing well, we hang on to that 5th place Champions League spot.
Mm.
And that to me is absolutely crucial where we are in our journey right now. Being able to, we should be fighting. In reality, we should be fighting for anywhere between 8th and 5th. And as long as that 5th spot is up for grabs in the Champions League, all the better as far as I'm concerned. So the more English clubs progress, the further English clubs progress, the better I like it.
Yeah. I mean, I must admit, for me, it's got to give you a massive boost to see the difference in football. Always support all English teams in Europe.
Start that one. I'll go to PDQ. Where is it?
Yeah, you start starring a couple and we'll come to them. I have just had a bit of...
Yeah, let's help a non-Geordie break a Geordie's record. Is Win for real? Is Win a Geordie or not? Trust me, PDQ, Win is a Geordie. But I'm a Newcastle United fan first and foremost, and I reckon Harry Kane could have done a smashing job for us. And if that involves breaking Shearer's record whilst wearing a black and white shirt, all the better.
Yeah, I'm just going to go to Gavin because obviously he's put a question in. We can't really judge Elanga as he's not been playing with the central striker. As soon as we get a striker, we drop him. But again,
that's a very valid point.
It's an absolute valid point. I understand that, and I could understand maybe why Lee Ryder's gone with the question. Then why wait until you bring a striker in and drop the player that you've just spent 55 million on bringing into Newcastle? I just think it's the output.
I'd be very disappointed if Elanga's kicking off at all, because as Stephen Cameron's saying here, we need to be able to change things up and rotate. Murphy coming in made sense. Elanga had just played two internationals. We need competition in all positions, and they need to be prepared to fight for it. Absolutely bang on, Stephen.
Yeah. Breaking news, again, this is from Lee Ryder, and the headlines from this one is Bruno Guimaraes gives Barca transfer truth and nails colours to the Newcastle mast. And I've just had a very brief skim read.
Was that not Wednesdays?
Is that Wednesdays? It's just come out today.
No, I'm sure I read that where he said they never ever came for him because they were supposed to be at a barbecue we was at in
Why are they
Rio.
reproducing it? Because it is exactly what was said before, wasn't it? As you said there, from the Catalonia as part of the bargain. The likes of Marsa, Mundo Deportivo, Sport, and El Chris will be better saying this one, Periodico, were all in attendance, with Bruno speaking in Spanish to travelling journalists and a translator serving up the quotes in Catalan. But after being quizzed for the first time on Alexander Isak's exit to Liverpool, Bruno was not entertaining any suggestions of a move anywhere, insisting Newcastle was his home now. When asked by the Barca reporters if he was ever came close to signing for the 5 times European champions, Bruno said there was never any contact. So exactly what you've just said, mate, to be fair. When I was a kid, I always watched Barcelona in Brazil. We watched a lot of La Liga, and I always loved Barcelona. There were players who made me love football. I remember Ronaldinho the most. Then came Messi, Neymar, Suarez, Iniesta. I can't wait to play Barca now. But for Bruno, it is all about Newcastle. And he quipped, I never thought I'd go to a restaurant and not pay the bill. I enjoy it, to be honest. I always had faith in my colleagues. We've been together for years and everything has been wonderful. Bruno was then asked if he dreamt of lifting the Champions League in Newcastle colours, and he replied, in the future, it's going to be something that we're looking for. So there you go. But at the moment, we don't want to put limits on our dreams.
The main Isaac
we just
quote
want to play game by game, and we'll see what we get. Yeah, there you go.
His main Isaac quote was, nicey, 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 but we're not looking in the past, we're looking to the future.
Future, yeah. And but this is what drives me. You had a bit of a quip with the Chronicle. They're coming out with the same stories over and over again.
Honest to God, I mean, they got me to click yesterday on Anthony Elanga sell-on clause explained or something. So I'm thinking, the sell-on clause, the truth. Yeah. And then there was about 25 bloody paragraphs of nonsense. And the second last paragraph says, despite rumours to the contrary, we are led to believe that there is no sell-on clause or buyback clause in Elliot Anderson's sale contract. So the headline is, sell contract, the truth, and you're thinking, have we got a one?
In it, yeah.
And it's just to say, there isn't a one.
So, Elliot Anderson, I suppose we can move quite swiftly onto that one, because a loss, massive loss for Newcastle and Eddie Howe, especially how it's been in midfield, with, unfortunately, the likes of Willock, who seems to be made of sugar paper. We are in a situation now where Elliot Anderson is being touted for the next Manchester United move. And obviously, there's massive links now for Newcastle bringing in Mainu, coming the other way. He doesn't want, or he's not seen by Amrim as being the answer at Manchester United. And I must admit, in the system of play that Manchester United are doing at the moment, I think it's going to be a lot to ask for Elliot Anderson to get involved with, to be fair. But what he does give you is the legs to be able to go box to box, which doesn't seem to be Kobe Mainu's type of role. We know that J7, as much as we love him, has got to that point in his career where potentially he could be the next one to be dropped, if you like, because of injuries, consistent injuries. Again, he was having treatment to that knee during the Wolves match. It seems as if it's a bit of a niggle for him. He was getting the cold spray. Do you see Mainu as being the replacement?
For Anderson?
No. For J7?
No, definitely not.
Not the same type of player at all,
completely
is it?
Different types of player.
Yeah.
So if you are going to go with, let's say, Bruno, Tonali and Mainu, that means you're more or less relying on Tonali to be the 6. And I just think anchoring him to the 6, you're just losing so much of his game.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I think what we need to do is if we're going into midfield market, for me, we need to be buying a proper 6. Now everybody's saying we need a 10. We can't break the lanes, but to me, I think if we had a proper 6, a Wharton or somebody like that, then that releases Bruno and Tonali to go and do their thing where they can hurt teams, as opposed to having to concentrate as much on defensive duties as their attacking duties.
Yeah, I mean, there's been lots of Jeff Howe, Foxy have all issued shots across the bow. There's lots of players in Europe that play a very similar role, very younger type players that play a similar role to J7. But for me, the player that I want to see released a little bit more from the reins is Tonali. I think, unfortunately, because of his commitment, his commitment to the cause, if you like, the way he commands that 6 position, because of his endeavour to win the ball back, unfortunately, it ties him down a little bit. So if we could get a natural 6 that would release and maybe play Tonali in his international role where he plays that left of centre, I think you've got a different animal altogether.
That's a great shout from Aaron there. If you replace it, I wanted Edison.
Yeah,
when I was first wanting Walter Marder, that was when I was wanting Edison. And then when we played Milan, I stayed just outside Bergamo, and I was talking to quite a few of the locals in the bar, and they were as enthusiastic about Edison as the Milan fans were about Tonali. So to me, if Edison is having that, because you get, for example, I don't think Tonali is sufficiently respected and appreciated in the national press and in the psyche of opposition supporters. I don't think he gets the recognition that his performances deserve. We see it because we see it for 90 minutes every game.
Yeah.
Whereas everybody else sees the highlights on Match of the Day and what anybody's saying about him. And he never gets kind of, rapturous, glowing reports, which is good for us, I think, because it's keeping them off everybody's radar with a bit of luck.
Yeah.
But the point I'm making is that when you watch a player week in, week out, you can see, really how good they are. Now, the Atalanta fans feel the same about Edison. They would be devastated to see him go, and I can honestly imagine if we were to sign him and we ended up playing Atalanta in Europe, he would get the same reception going back to Atalanta that Tonali got when we went back to Milan. It was phenomenal, I compared it to when David Kelly came back here.
Yeah,
with Sunderland, the reception he got was just absolute. Even though he was playing for the Macklins, absolutely fantastic. Until the first time he touched the ball in the match, and then and he nearly fell down laughing because he got this huge rapturous reception coming on, and then the first time he touched the ball.
Boom. Yeah, exactly. It's crazy, isn't it?
Great deal that was.
Yeah. But like I said, for me, it is all about trying to find, and we've seen in the past, to find that perfect number 6 that epitomises some of the greats. I mean, Barca seemed, if you look at their side, they seem so well equipped. You know, Xavi in the middle of the park. I mean, the lad by the side of it, I can't think of his name now, begins with a C. Again, you know, not a massive name, but seemed to be a player that just plays the game simple. You know, it's about breaking down opposition attacks, winning the ball back, and playing a simple football. And I often look at players now, and I think to myself, you know, you've mentioned Edison. I think there's been some great players of yesteryear that's played in that role. But it's very difficult to actually look at players now and thinking that they could not only keep up to pace in the Premier League as that six. You know, we've looked at the likes of Caicedo that seem to do really well. You know, the Royces of this world who seem to be. They're not just
the point I'm
sixes
making
anymore,
is
are they?
that you get Caicedo, McAllister, and Rice are mentioned all the time nationally as being these fantastic defense DMs. You know,
Yeah.
to me, Tonali is now okay. We don't see them for 90 minutes every week, so
No.
so that's fair comment. But to me, Tonali is head and shoulders above any of them.
Yeah, but what I'm saying to you is, are we at that point of looking at? Are we at the point now we're looking at Tonali just as that defensive? You know, you do lose a lot of Tonali's forward-thinking movement, don't we? You know, what we see from
one
Italy.
touch passing. That's what's so critical in that
That's
lower
my better
block.
half ringing me. Just let me tell her that I'm online.
Yeah, no problems.
Sweetheart, I'm just online, sweetie. I'm just live online. I'm waving. You know, speak to you in a second. All right, sweetheart, no problem. Thank you. Bye. Love you. Bless her. She's just finishing work, and she's just telling me she's going shopping. It's very kind of her, and doesn't want me with her, which is even better. Yeah. So for me, you look at all of these players.
Look, Barca tonight, Pedri is, you know, absolutely superb. But you don't get from Pedri is Pedri's more of a Kante. You know, he was the best Kante for me, the best DM of all time.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is, you look at Napoli, right? Now, I just wanted to throw in Napoli for an instance, because they've just taken on board Billy Gilmore and McTominay, right?
Yeah.
And they've both gone over to Serie A, and they've done fantastically well. They look rejuvenized, they reborn as players. Now, you know, I quite like these two individuals. And again, you know, I always often say to our scouting system, if you like, there is players there that you don't need to go and spend lots of money on to bring into Newcastle.
Hang on though. And again, Chris will shoot me down in frames. They're doing it in Serie A. They're not doing it and didn't do it in the Prem. McTominay was up for Player of the Year in Serie A.
Yeah. But
and
what
I
I'm saying
do
is,
not believe for 1 second that it's because he's a much better player now than he was when he was playing for Man United. I don't believe that for a second.
But you sometimes play for a different coach.
The difference is the opposition.
So you just think it's level of opposition?
I think that's what it is. Same with Billy Gilmore. You know, capable player, no doubt about it, but not stellar. You know, I'd have McGinn every day over Billy Gilmore.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think again, that's where the levels are now. The Prem is so difficult, man.
I agree.
And people
with you.
don't like to hear it. Nonsense. It's better. You know, the nearest to us is the Bundesliga. If you're doing it there, you've got very few easy games in the Bundesliga.
Yeah,
But Serie A, La Liga, you've got half a dozen teams at most.
well, what? Yeah, Sophie, she has literally just took the words out of my mouth. Tonali did it, and look how he's gone into the Premier League. And that's what I'm saying. You know, you can look.
Yeah,
you can look at Serie A.
He was stellar in Serie A.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But
he's come and done it over here.
Yeah,
but very much the exception to prove the rule.
Yeah.
You know, how many others have done it?
No, that's what I'm saying. You have got to think though that
unless you're talking about going into the, you know, when they've reached that level abroad. And then you're paying, you know, you're doing your Chelsea's and Man City's just going buying the best available. Of course, they're going to should be able to do it.
Yeah, you know, for me, you know, you can't. And I'm not comparing any player to Tonali. What I'm saying to you is, you know, we've got a midfield, and we've got to start looking at players that can potentially move. That are, you know, and the reasons why I picked those two players, and again, Wynn's already hit the nail on the head. Premier League proven, Eddie Howe's preferred choice of targets, if you like. Premier League proven players, and as Wynn has just alluded to there, these guys didn't perform in the Premier League to a great degree. They are providing obviously very well for Serie A and Napoli, but is it not just the coach? Is it the team, or is the coach not getting the best out of them? McTominay at Man U, we all knew the struggles that Manchester United are continually having under umpteen coaches, never mind just one. So is that more of a problem behind the scenes at Manchester United rather than that steady ship that Newcastle have got, where they've got a smaller squad, you know, they sit comfortably in the top six at the Premier League season after season. Obviously, they already up when they finished seventh, but again, they've got that steady ship. I do think a lot of the time though we are missing out on players that can provide a little bit more than what we've got from the likes of Willock and even Jacob Ramsey. You know, I look at Jacob Ramsey and I do like the lad, but I don't think going forward we're going to get the best out of somebody like Jacob Ramsey, somebody like Willock, rather than trying to find somebody to fill the hole for Tonali, where we can just move Tonali forward a little bit.
I thought he wouldn't be long and being in. Where is he?
Aye.
I've seen it on the right hand, but not on the left hand yet.
Yeah, he's there. He's in.
There he goes. Utter woke nonsense. Win talking rubbish. Players do it all the time. Name them. Never mind coming there with your utter woke. Because that's one thing I am certainly not, and that's woke. Trust me.
See, I mean, like I say, I'm not a massive follower.
And by the way, I feel insulted now, so I'm going to report you.
But you know, for me, like I said, there's players out there that I think that we can be homing in on. That's what I'm trying to say. For January, I really hope Eddie Howe looks seriously into finding a solution, because at the minute, you know, we move or we take one player out, and our whole midfield structure gets reshaped, because then you move Bruno out of position, he goes and fills Tonali, somebody else comes into that hole. So for one change, you're making several other changes within the squad rather than a like-for-like player. Does that make sense?
It does. But the thing about J7 is he's such a unique player.
But he wasn't when he came, Win.
What do you mean?
That's what I'm saying. Well, he
was a striker when he came.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Eddie Howe has manipulated him into a midfielder, and like I said, as much as he's a stopper, he's not the bestly gifted midfielder that you'll ever want. in your squad. If you're looking at somebody who can, see a pass and things like that, you're not going to get that from J7 because it's not in his artillery. He'll see a ball through the middle. We saw that when he played in Anthony Gordon against Man City. It was a great through ball for that, perfectly weighted. But for us to move forward, what I'm saying is we are going to look or need to look at players have the ability to take a player on. We've seen it again multiple times where, midfielders break from the middle, take a two or three players out the game because they're technically gifted, close to control, and then they can just spray that ball. You don't really see that from J7 either. What you get from J7, and you're absolutely right, and you don't see it from a lot of midfielders, is that physical ability to win.
There's a brilliant description of J7 from the kind of phrase there. He's a man mountain that can, oddly, I would have said strangely, cover ground because he is deceptively fast as well. Very impressive. Yeah, indeed. Yeah. I agree.
He is. That's what I said. But what I'm saying to you is being speedy and being a man mountain, like I said, sometimes restricts you on what we need to be doing going forward. And that's, like I said, breaking lines. We're awful at breaking lines. And that's got to be down to the people we've got within the team from midfield. So, again, you've got Tonali who can break lines, but plays in the wrong position for me. You've got Bruno who potentially could break lines. It's got that the ideology behind the way football
well, you would
play.
say Bruno lobbing lovely little
Yeah.
balls through. We just haven't had the strikers to take advantage.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, the one thing that's missing is that left centre. And that's why I said you've got the perfect person with Tonali if you could just find somebody that could play the perfect sixth position. And like I said, you talk about
all I think is it is easier to find a really, really competent six than it is right now to replace Joelinton.
Let me give you, you've just made a comment to kind of phrase, right? He's fast and he's a man mountain. Doesn't that sound like a perfect six? So if he is, right, because he's got that recovery speed, he's got that physical presence on the field, why do you never really see him as the...
Because the only thing he hasn't got is the technical ability. So he could probably go in and win the ball, but if he won it, he'd probably just give it away. Yeah, because he'd be winning it in the wrong place.
Yeah, Jack Slapater, there you go. David Batty. He's never going to be an amazing footballer, but an essential part of the team. Yeah, I think you're probably about there, aren't you?
I was never a massive Batty fan, but I always appreciated.
Well, like I say, absolutely, I respected the role that he did. Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
And I think that is where you are, and that's what I have with J7. I respect the role that he has within the side, and he has got that thing. But for me, like I said, he's getting to that point where he's he'll need replacing sooner rather than later.
There's Marco. 48-63, taking up the Esprilla cudgel. J7 has stamina. Oh no, sorry, that's not the one I meant to read. PDK, man. You have to watch J7 live. He's a beast. Sandro is just class. Bruno is just passion and Love our midfield, and so do I, PDK.
You cannot not love the midfield. That's what I'm saying. But again, the answer always lies in how can we not break down a low block? And it always comes from that midfield. Your low block breaks when you see a lot of other teams doing it.
We tend to try to break it by having the overlapping fullbacks, don't we?
Well, we try to break it in different ways.
We go to our triangles.
Yeah, and then it becomes the pendulum football because we just don't have players. And again, it's all about quick football and quick minds. And I don't see enough from these select three, as you've just said there, that one play the ball. I mean, Tonali does it beautifully. You see him, it's all one touch when he's looking at internationals. Don't really see a lot of it at Newcastle. And that's what I said. And again, that goes to players that are in and around him. Have they got the quality of mind to be in that setup. Now, I am going to allow you time to talk because I am getting quite chesty. Conte was 0% technical ability.
I'll tell you the first thing I'm saying.
Six.
How are you, folks, man? Smash the likes. We're only on 60 likes out of 300 viewing on all platforms. If you're watching on TikTok or
Tic-tac?
bloody
Wasn't that something
TikTok
you throw in your mouth?
Screech or whatever, get on the YouTube and hit the likes, folks. Help us out. Yeah. We've got.
Go on, you do the things because I'm just going to line up a couple of.
It was Hansi Barcelona boss Hansi Flick admit he is surprised by one Newcastle United player after watching him. Newcastle United could have the element of surprise when they face Barcelona on Thursday night. Magpies kick off their Champions League biggest way possible. Nick Baltimora is who he's talking about. The 2 meter Messi Musiala is, and Hansi Flick says, "I didn't know him much." He said, I saw some matches. I was really surprised about how he increased his level. For the Premier League, he's a good option for every coach. I'm happy. We'll see how he improves. I think he has a lot of potential to improve. And in the Premier League, you have to improve to play. So even Hansi Flick's agreeing with his American mag. I'm really happy. I'll tell you, this must have been the article you took it from. I'm really happy that Germany has a really good number 9 for Julian Nagelsmann. Well, they've got a good number 9. We've got a good 27.
Yeah.
Give me a striker from Stuttgart.
So what's the starred ones you were starring up? Because like obviously you've.
I think I've done most of them now. Let's have a look.
You've done them? Because I've just had some.
I've got to be careful here. I think this is one of them.
You guys.
I bet that's Harry and Hugh Janus.
Yeah.
When I saw the Hugh, that was what I was looking at. So he's saying Anderson will be going on club tours before he considers ending his career back home. He won't be at NUFC anytime soon if his form continues, just like Gascoigne and Beardsley. No. Here is the difference between Gascoigne and Beardsley both having to leave the club to further their careers. The difference now is when Gascoigne and Beardsley were sold or under McKeague or Westwood before, and they had no interest. That was all we were, a selling club. Any decent player worth their salt got sold and the directors pocketed the money. Simple as. We ain't that now. We are not a selling club. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if we were to go in a couple of years' time and put the big money on the table and get Anderson back. And I think he would crawl here, given the opportunity. I mean, they're talking now about Man United have suddenly got this windfall from somewhere, and they are now talking about buying Anderson. Well, if I was anywhere near Anderson, I'd say the last place in the world that any player with potential wants to be going right now is Manchester United, because it is a death trap for talent. Look at the players that they've had over the last few seasons, and they're just rubbish. So there we have it. But I am about to leave. My lift will be here shortly.
Yeah,
and we are going to go head downtown and have some fun.
Yeah,
and let that excitement build and build. See if we can find any Barca fans.
Well, I'm just going to end the show. Yeah, because like I say, I know you've got to go, and like I say, I want to get myself gone. We usually do a 2-hour show, but like I say, there's very little out there at the minute.
That we haven't already done.
Yeah, we blasted a lot of information, but I've just had something drop on my doorstep here. According to French football expert Julien Laurent, Hugo Ekitike, agent, has said he would never have joined Liverpool if he knew they were going to sign Isak due to World Cup year. Ekitike's agent claims that Liverpool told him, Ekitike, he would be the regular starter at the club if he signed. Yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, did we not see? We said all along. Thanks, Connor, again for throwing me that one, matey. I mean, it is crazy, to think that we've had, we said from the outset that the agents apparently were told that Ekitike was going to be the one and only, and then they go and throw the Isak card straight at him. And like I said,
couldn't have happened to a nicer lad.
Didn't do a lot yesterday, and people are still saying, "Oh, he's still in his early stages of pre-season."
Isak did less.
That's what I just said. Didn't do a lot.
I thought you were about Ekitike.
No.
Shitty Tiki, they're calling him now.
Yeah, I'm gonna say. Well, there was not from what I've gathered, there wasn't some very nice words said about Isak either. Anyway, we've done enough. Thank you, everybody. Don't forget, 7:00 tonight. We are live for the watch along. Me and Chris. He's going to be pissed as a fart by then because he's on the lash before we get any further. And to be fair, I don't blame him. I'd be there as well. I would have loved to have been up in Newcastle today because I can just imagine what it'll be like singing with those 500 Catalans. You must have come in a taxi. Anyway, but it is going to be a great evening for all concerned. So until 7:00, come and join us. Like I say, we are going to be doing the live commentary, and it's going to be an exciting time. Me and Chris, and he's going to have a great night tonight. So thank you, everybody, for being involved in today's chat. I don't think there's anything particular that we need to
smash the likes, folks. How many we got now?
We've done okay, I think.
88. Come on, get that to 100.
Let's whack the 100, and then we'll do well. And like I say, we'll see you later on tonight's show. But until then, it's a goodbye from him.
And it's a goodbye from him. And how are the lads? Come on, get
and
into
beds.
them.
Come on. See you all.